Genetics. Genetics is the study of how the life form transfer their characters to the next generations. And this kind of the character we call trait. And if that trait is exposed to the outside, we call it phenotype. In Mendel's experiment, he found in the piece there are different shape and color of those pieces. And utilizing this piece, he studied the rule of what kind of the character is transferred to the next generation by what kind of rule. And this information is the basis of modern genetics. And now we know that the information is stored in DNA, and those information in DNA we call genotype. Based on this information, now we can say maybe genotype is matching to its phenotype. So this is the modern genetics and based on the Mendelian's experiment. So if there's any change in phenotype, we can assume there's some changes happen to genotype and mutation is one of them. Mutation is one way to generate changes in genotype, but this mutation, relatively, this is a step by step, point by point. It's quite kind of a slow processes. Very interestingly, to generate these changes the much quicker, there's a new invention, so-called recombination by sex. What do you mean by that? Human genome is stored in 23 pairs of chromosomes. I said pairs. So that means, very interestingly, we have almost two redundant set of genetic informations. One set is from mother, and the other set is from father. So one set we call 1N. That's why we have 2N genetic information. That's why we call this whole set of genetic information as a diploid. When we make sperm or egg cell, we divide this information into N state. So sperm and egg cell has a half genetic material comparing to other somatic cells. That's why this 1N state we call haploid. Now, during this process, it's totally random to choose which chromosome for each of the 23 other pairs is totally random. That's why the number of the different kinds of sperm cell or egg cell is 2 to the 23. And this is almost near to 8 million different kinds of combinations. In addition to this, there are also homologous recombination. Some part of a chromosome can be exchanged during meiosis. So that's why one person can generate more than 10 millions of different kinds of sperm cell or egg cells. Then let's think about the probability that I and my brother have the exactly same identical genetic information. What can be the probability? Well, all 23 chromosomes are from father and all 23 chromosomes from mother should be matching. Then the probability for each side is 2 to minus 23. And altogether, this is 2 to minus 46. This probability is 1 over 64 trillion. It's an amazing number, isn't it? Now let's think about the genetic identity ratio between my father and me. My gene, half of my gene, came from my father. So half of my gene is the same with my father. And we are connected with one node. So in Korean word, we call this ilchon. That means one node. And we have half identical gene informations. Now let's think about the genetic identity ratio between my grandfather and me. We are connected with a two node. In Korean, we call this ichon. And this gives us the information if you have n nodes, then that would be 1 over 2, 2 to the n relationship. So my grandfather and myself shares 1/4 genetic information identity. How about the genetic identity between my brother and me? I'm connected to my brother through my father, and this is a two node. That's why we can share 1/4 of genetic information. But if you think we are also connected through my mother, then there's another 1/4 of identity. Then altogether, we are sharing half of a genetic information. So this effect happens through common parent effect.